up in this bulletin, Electoral Commission to open voters register for limited registration from 28th of April to the 8th of May.
Clinical psychologist calls for support for mentally challenged persons.
ECOWAS deploy 130 observers to monitor Niger's election tomorrow.
Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni wins fifth term.
Hello, good evening, and thanks so much for joining us. This is News Hour, coming to you live on your all news channel, GBC24 and GTV. My name is Akmene Avo Ajaja.
I'm Gifty Iji.
A look at the stories now in detail. The Electoral Commission says it will open the voters register for limited registration from the 28th of April to the 8th of May. This is to enable new voters who have attained age 18 and those who qualify but were unable to register the last time the register was opened to do so.
And to do the registration next month. However, the constitutional instrument which is to regulate the registration has been laid in Parliament but is yet to mature. Hence the decision. This was made known at an Inter-Party Advisory Committee IPAG meeting held in Accra. The EC would need to embark on public education on the limited registration, and this can only be started after the CI has been passed.
Therefore, at the IPAC meeting, the Commission explained that the registration will not come off immediately after CI matures. Again, the EC said it has only 3,500 registration kits and would want to merge some electoral areas to be able to deploy more kits to areas where there are more people. There are 6,156 electoral areas in the country.
We now go to Kumasi, where students in some senior high schools in Kumasi have been educated about their rights and responsibilities as enshrined in the 1992 Constitution. The occasion, which forms part of the celebration of this year's Constitution Week, was organized by the National Commission for Civic Education, NCCE.
The NCCE is mandated to sensitize the citizenry and all residents about the provisions and importance of the 1992 Republican Constitution, which forms the basis of all legal frameworks in the country. It is also the document that spells out all the rights, privileges and responsibilities of citizens. Every year, the NCCE sets aside a week to remind Ghanaians about the relevance of the Constitution through various programs. This year's Constitution Week focused on two areas. The first one was to organize community debates for the NCCE officials to sensitize the people to know they are really key stakeholders in the district assembly concept to enable them to demand accountability from the main players. The second initiative was the organization of quiz competitions among senior high schools in the Ashanti region. The competition was contested by students who have decided to be peace ambassadors and are being groomed to be the light of peace and unity in society. They were from 10 public senior high schools in the Ashanti region. They included the T.I. Ahmadiyya Adventist, Asanteman and Kumasi Girls Senior High Schools. The contestants answered questions from the areas of citizenship, the Constitution, rights and duties of a citizen, among others. The program was supported by the European Union, and it was the first time that the contestants were answering the questions electronically. The deputy chairman of the NCCE in charge of finance and administration, Madame Josephine Nkrumah, said that students who form the nucleus of Ghana's leaders must be well groomed to be responsible in the future.
Where you don't have the Constitution, you will have a nation of chaos. And if there is a nation of chaos, there is unfortunately no future for you. So you are the ambassadors of peace, which means whatever you learn in the Constitution, you are supposed to take that knowledge and make it a living part of you.
The Ashanti Regional Director of the Commission, Mr. Al-Hassan Yakubu, said people are now becoming aware of the provisions and importance of the 1992 Constitution.
Back in the national capital, a clinical psychologist from the Department of Psychiatry, Ghana Medical School, Mr. Note Dia, is urging Ghanaians not to attribute every act of violence and brutality to mental illness. Speaking to GBC24, he affirmed that stigmatization still remains a major challenge and therefore called for support for mentally challenged persons. His advice comes on the heels of reported cases of violence by alleged mentally ill persons.
Once these are being reported and the requisite action is being taken, maybe we could reduce some of these unfortunate incidents. But I must caution, let's make sure that we don't have criminality hiding under the name of mental illness. If these people are mentally ill, it is very unfortunate, and we have to take action. But as a professional, I would say that I see in the reports in the media that they are alleged to be mentally ill or suspected to be. Families that have persons who are known to be mentally ill or on treatment should make sure that they comply with treatment and do not default. Very often, because the conditions are stigmatized, when people feel okay, they stop their medication or they do not present themselves for follow-up or review as they do in the physical condition. Mental health is stigmatized, and even attracting personnel to the field is very, very difficult. Even those who are in the field, there's a lot of low morale, and we need to look at that. So that limits the number of people we have out there to address these issues. If you feel that you do have some peculiar problem which is out of the normal limit, there's nothing wrong with walking into a health facility and seeking attention.
For centuries, Ghanaians have used herbal medicine to cure all manner of ailments from malaria to infertility. With the introduction of modern-day medicine, the practice was relegated to the background for some time. In recent times, however, with vibrant packaging and modernized techniques, the use of herbal medicine has made a major comeback. However, the efficiency of some of the drugs on the market still remains a major challenge.
The Center for Research and Development of Traditional Medicine, now called Center for Scientific Research into Plant Medicine, was established in 1975 by the government as a brainchild of Dr. Oku Ampofo, a renowned herbal medicine practitioner. He started it as a small outpatient department in the present community, Obichere of Mampong Equiapim, before it moved to its present site. In the early 60s, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the president, sent Dr. Oku Ampofo and others to China to learn from the Chinese experience in herbal medicine. The center has a staff strength of about 200 made up of researchers, scientists, medical herbalists, pharmacists, nurses, and technologists. The mandate of the center is to establish guidelines for research into plant medicine and disseminate the results of the research. Also, the center promotes national and international collaboration, transfer of technology for the effective development and utilization of research results and findings into plant medicine for the benefit of the country. Furthermore, it facilitates the evaluation of research findings to determine the therapeutic benefits of plant medicines for quality assurance. The Executive Director of the Center for Scientific Research into Plant Medicine, Dr. Augustine Oklu, spoke about the importance of the center.
The main mandate for this center, which is now called the Center for Plant Medicine Research, is to conduct scientific research into all the herbs, the plants, medicinal plants that we use in Ghana. We are supposed to collaborate with the herbalists to authenticate their products. So if you're a herbalist that you think that you have a cure for a particular illness, it must be tested scientifically. And this is the center that has been recognized nationwide to do that.
The Deputy Director of the Center for Research and Development of Traditional Medicine, Dr. Alfred Ampuma Apia, gave an overview of the processes involved in preparing herbal medicine.
It's all by trial and error, observing nature, animals, and then through that a number of medicinal plants became known. And some of these were documented. Similarly, bitters had been in the system for a long time. Some of our ancestors were preparing bitters, and they take various medicinal plants from different plants, they chop them into pieces and then extract it in alcohol, ethanol, and then they use it for different disease conditions.
According to him, the center has over the last 40 years produced medicines that are safe for consumption. The public relations director of the center, Mr. Bafuo Sayakutu, talked about the collaboration the research center has with other organizations such as the Food and Drugs Authority.
The act that establishes this place, Act 833, stipulates that we should be engaged actively in the promotion of herbal medicine. And again, it stipulates that we should be engaged in technology transfer. Here, what it simply means is that we should be able to transfer the knowledge that we've accumulated over the years for the good of the Ghanaian public. And in this case, for the good of industry. That is why we appreciate what we do with Kasapreko.
The news team visited the center's pharmacology and toxicology laboratory to find out what goes into the research of herbal products. The research officer of the laboratory, Stephen Enchi, explained the processes.
We do two main things here: efficacy screening and toxicity testing of herbal medicines in Ghana and those that are produced by the center. So for our efficacy screening, we induce specific disease states into laboratory animals and then treat the animals to see if the disease state will be ameliorated. And then for our toxicity, we give specific doses to laboratory animals and then we check to see if the drugs are toxic. So we look out for signs like the way the eyes of the animals look, the way they associate themselves in a community. We also look out for effects of the drugs on the liver of the animals, on the kidneys of the animals, on the heart of the animals and other organs in the animals.
The phytochemistry laboratory of the center takes care of the physical analysis examination of the medicine. The center does not only research into herbal medicine but also has a clinic. In an interview with GBC24, the medical herbalist of the clinic, Dr. Kwesi Pra Tomford, said over 60 patients visit the clinic daily and are treated with herbal medicine. The clinic, however, gives referral to patients to try orthodox medicine if the herbal medicine does not work. The clinic also has a pharmacy department. Herbal preparations include Mist Ninja, Mist Diodia, Asena, Nibima, Pal mixture, and cough mixture. The Mist Ninja is used for treating infertility in women and menstrual disorder, whilst Mist Diodia is used for hypertension. Asena is good for those with joint pains and arthritis, while Nibima works effectively for those who have malaria. Anemic patients are treated with Tominka. The Animal Experimentation Unit is a very important department of the center. This unit houses the mice used to conduct tests before any medicine is administered to humans. The center usually imports these animals from Japan. The center has its own forests where it nurtures the seeds of some of the plants used for the medicines. The mission of the research center is to gain the highest recognition for research and development of herbal products that meet all needs through innovative scientific research and productive partnership.
Still news are live on your news channel GBC24. In some more stories, the Tema Metropolitan Assembly TMA, with support from the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, has presented about 92 outboard motors to fishermen in Tema Newtown. The outboard motors was subsidized by the government.
The price of outboard motors has been subsidized 50% by the government to enable fisherfolk to purchase their own outboard motors. This initiative has helped a number of fishermen in Tema
to buy outboard motors at a cost cheaper than the prevailing price market. This was done through their respective fishing association and the Tema Metropolitan Assembly. The Assembly has therefore presented about 92 outboard motors to the Tema Newtown Fishermen Association for onward distribution to some fisher folks who have already paid for the equipment. At a presentation to hand over the outboard motors to fishermen, the chief fisherman, Awudum of Tema Newtown, Ni Odamte, thanked the ministry and the assembly for the support.
We are really grateful. We will distribute the outboard motors to all the fishermen, but we are also pleading for some more outboard motors for other fishermen who are yet to receive theirs.
The MCE of Tema, Mr. Isaac Ashai Odamtin, called on recipients of the fishing equipment to maintain them in order to enhance their fishing activities.
The old outboard motors should not be discarded because you have new ones. They can be repaired to serve as backups in the event that they develop faults. I will also urge the mechanics to repair faulty ones on time in order to boost sales.
The TMA is making efforts to ensure that other fishing communities in the metropolis are also supported with the subsidized outboard motors.
A 32-member team from Bath and Wiltshire School Sports Trust, an England-based sports organization, has trained juvenile football teams and coaches of the South District Football Association and also provided them with logistics. The team, which is on a visit to the country at the invitation of the Kuklobite Chilton Centre, says the gesture is part of its contribution to the welfare of the less privileged in the community. Interacting with the team at Kuklobite, the wife of Vice President Mrs. Matilda Emisa Arthur encouraged the beneficiaries to take advantage of the project and training and to sustain the relationship.
The Kuklobite Chilton Centre was set up in 2004 by Jane and Marshall Zongbobo to help provide education and care to underprivileged children and their families. This they do through various activities such as training in vocational skills, teacher training and assistance in school activities such as art, sport, exam preparation and additional English and maths classes. Through a partnership project, a 32-member team from Bath and Wiltshire School Sports Trust, an England-based organization, is in the country on the invitation of the Kuklobite Chilton Centre. The team has trained 22 juvenile coaches of the South District Football Association and some boys from the centre and the community on some tricks on the soccer pitch. The team is also building a new football park at the Kuklobite Presbyterian Mission School with a £2,300 fund. The wife of the Vice President, Mrs. Matilda Emisa Arthur, who is a patron of the Tilton Centre, encouraged the group and the authorities of the centre to utilize the opportunities at their disposal. Some of the boys, Leo Englin, Joe Porton and Sam Cray, said the experiences are totally different from what they know back home in England.
Very fortunate to have money and water, but some of the kids, even if they don't have all of those things that make us happy, they still stay really positive and happy.
Well, because it was a life-changing experience to see how England is to Ghana and see how much we're fortunate to live a good life. Yeah, I've learnt Toyote, which is how are you? Yoyoba.
The chairman of the South District Football Association, Mr. Nuru Muhammad was grateful to the team for nurturing the boys to be disciplined in the game of football. Theodora Medeto, GBC24, Accra.
And that was the local segment. Coming up is business. Welcome back. In business, the Controller and Accountant General's Employees Cooperative Credit Union in the 2015 financial year posed a profit after tax of over 500,000 Ghana cedis and also registered an asset of over 11 million. The directors say, or they also declared 15% of more than 400,000 Ghana cedis as dividend to be shared by the members.
The 18th Annual General Meeting of the Controller and Accountant General's Employees Cooperative Credit Union was an opportunity for members from different organizations to ask questions about savings, loans and how their monies are being managed by the executives of the union. In the year under review, the committee of the union organized a deba to interact with staff of the Ga East Municipal Assembly at Abokobi as part of the educational campaign. During the period, loans granted to members amounted to 1,832,622 Ghana cedis compared to 1,672,546 Ghana cedis in 2014. Savings, however, fell below the appreciable level due to massive withdrawals registered. The chairman of the board of directors, Mr. Ben Crabb, said investments made by the union have raked in over 4 million Ghana cedis, representing 45.1%, over 2,834,273.08 cedis figure in 2014.
Members' shares valued at the end of the period under review was 410,673 Ghana cedis. As a result of this good income surplus, and the directors have approved 15% dividends. Kagegu's total asset for the period in question was 11,085,110 compared to 8,575,207 in 2014.
The Field Services Manager of Ghana Cooperative Union Association, Mrs. Sadiq Mohammed, encouraged members to get involved in the activities of the union.
The credit union is owned and controlled by its members, and for that matter, it operates to benefit its members and not to benefit from its members. I call on all members to actively get involved in the proceedings of the day.
The manager of the Controller and Accountant General's Employees Cooperative Credit Union, Mr. Bennett Wellington Ansah, outlined some of the challenges that the union faces.
The credit union really needs sensitization members, the public. They don't know the importance and the benefits of credit union. So to get membership is at times difficult. Membership. They imagine a credit union as more or less Susu group. So when they come in and want to apply the credit union regulations, some find it difficult.
The program was under the theme, Credit Union, Your Hope for Tomorrow.
This year's African Standardization Day focused on women empowerment. The day aims at harnessing African standard and conformity assessment procedures in order to reduce technical barriers to trade and therefore promote intra-African and international trade.
African Day of Standardization seeks to raise awareness among African regulators, industry and consumers on the benefits of standardization on Africa's economy. This year's celebration, under the theme, The Role of Standardization in Women's Empowerment, sought to educate women on the need to ensure and maintain standards in their businesses. As part of the program, women who have been successful in their businesses shared their experiences on how they have benefited from maintaining standards in their various businesses.
Each one of us has got power in us. And that power, we have to let that power blaze so that we can sustain what we have and move on and create more jobs for our young youth. I would say that, especially with the railway group, we are partners because we cannot do without standards. And the nicest thing is, every now and then, they will come in to come and check that whether what you are doing it right. We have to make sure we sustain the standards and then we also improve. Where if they say that made in Ghana, then you are talking about quality and you are talking about standards because we meet the international standards.
The Deputy Executive Director of the Ghana Standard Authority, Elizabeth Adetola, said women possess unique characteristics like tolerance, transparency, patience and commitment. She said a lot of SMEs in the country are run by women. Hence, they need to encourage them to ensure better standards of service.
Standardization empowers you as a leader in whatever you are doing, as well as in the community. Our message to all women is work hard. Do not be afraid of obstacles and problems. Standards are the key to overcome this. Be confident, trust in your capabilities, jump into the water, get involved.
The chairperson of the Leroy Group Limited, Mrs. Kate Kote Papafio, said women have unique qualities that are major values of standardization.
Not quite long, business operators on the Oxford Street in Accra were compelled to resort to generators and plants to power their shops. But now, with the stability on the energy front, some say they are making savings because the electricity is a bit cheaper than the generators and plant. A laundry on the Oxford Street now saves 1,300 cedis a month.
A shortfall in Ghana's energy generating capacity left distributors of electricity with no option but to shed load nationwide, a development that spanned 2011 to 2015. A drop in water levels in the Akosomo Dam and the breakdown of thermal plants in the Abuadze enclave meant that the energy needs of the country could no longer be met. The worsening energy situation pushed the ECG to supply power for 12 hours and withdraw it for 24 hours. Every sector of the economy had a fair share of the load-shedding exercise: cold stores, ice cream joints, barbering saloons, laundries and manufacturers. Buying of generators and plants became the order of the day. According to the Ghana Employers Association, about 12,000 people lost their jobs between January and April 2015 due to the crippling power crisis. After some investments in the energy sector, which saw the coming on stream of the car power and Ameri barges, Ghana saw an end to the load-shedding exercise. GBC24 has been speaking to some businesses in the capital about life after load shedding. At the zenith of the load management exercise, this laundry spent roughly 1,000 Ghana cedis on fueling their generators a month. The company is now saving that amount and also able to deliver their services on time.
Comparatively, we used to buy petrol for our generators for the laundry, about 100 Ghana cedis a day, covering the day. So basically, I think there's been a lot of improvement. So if in case you are buying 100 Ghana cedis petrol every day, it is about 3,000 Ghana cedis. I've said about let's say about 22,600, maybe excluding the Sundays.
Operators of this unisex saloon of the Oxford Street at Osu acknowledge the stability in the energy situation, but say the increase in utility tariffs appear to be eroding the gains she was expecting.
During those times, even we go through atrocity, we go through pain because of the doomso, and we lose a lot of customers. And now I think we are enjoying the electricity, though it's costly, but now we are okay.
Others describe the energy situation as a game changer in the operations. According to them, they could barely make any profits at the peak of the load-shedding program.
We used to spend much as we were in that season, particularly the load-shedding season. For morning, we used to buy 90 Ghana cedi in the afternoon to 90, so probably 180 will go within a day. So we used to spend much whilst we were experiencing the load shedding, and as comparing it to now, you could see a very vast difference.
The erratic power supply witnessed in the last couple of years has no doubt emphasized the importance of electricity in the life of businesses and households. Many a Ghanaian pray that the country never returns into the dark days.
And that was business. Coming up is My Journey.
Water, they say, is life. This is so because without water, life becomes incomplete. This makes the scarcity of water a major problem since water has no substitute. On my journey this week, I traveled to Nsawam following reports of water shortage in that old town in the eastern region. My name is Beatrice Senaju. Join me on this ride through Nsawam Aduejiri. From generation to generation, river bodies in the country have provided us with that valuable resource water. The Ankobra, Pra, Densu, the black and white volta are essential to life. This is evident in electricity generation, farming, and for human consumption. In recent times, these rivers are losing their potential due to climate change and human activities such as galamsey, dumping of refuse, and felling of trees. One such river which has been deeply affected by human activity is the Densu River. This is where the Densu River begins, and that is the reason the Ghana Water Sewage Company was built to store and supply water to the people of Nsawam municipality. The Densu River is 116 kilometers long and it supplies half the drinking water to Ghana's capital. These activities have led to the drying up of the river and is currently affecting the people of Nsawam Aduejiri by way of water shortage. This development pushed me to delve into the severity of the water crisis and how residents are coping with the situation. We fetch water from morning till evening without resting. We are suffering from backache due to the distance. We are pleading with authorities to help us.
We always fetch water from morning to evening. This makes our brothers late for school due to the distance from our house to the river.
We suffer a lot because we wake up early to get water to bath our kids and prepare them for school.
Beginning on now, Densu I find pa.
At first, the Densu River was clean, but now it is not. The river is dirty and it stinks, which is not suitable for consumption.
During my journey, I observed that many of the residents were fetching water from the river. A walk along the banks of the river Densu from Nsawam Aduejiri revealed a change in the color and quality of the water compared to the quality of the same water flowing from the source. I observed that a lot of people trooping in to fetch water from the river had to step into the river barefooted. Sanitation around the river was not the best. There is this refuse dump close to the river. Weeds have covered almost half the surface of the river. Another scene which caught my attention was these children fetching water during school hours. One of them is a 12-year-old Charles. Charles had this to say when asked why he was not in school.
I am coming to fetch water to bath to get ready for school, even though it is late.
I also noticed that most of the trees which serve as a cover for the river had been cut down. Almost a quarter of the population in Insawam were washing on the bank of the river.
The distance from the house to the riverside is far, so we can't fetch water from here to the house to wash. We will wash here and dry it as well.
I spotted these cars using a pumping machine to fill their water tanks. They place the machine right in the river. The pumping machine uses fuel, and if there is a leakage, it goes straight into the river, which can cause health problems. These boys too were busily bathing and swimming in the same river, which serves as the only source of water in the area. Some parts of the river were also dry. This is where the Densu River ends, and as you can see, the water is stagnant and there is no free flow of water. The color of the river has turned into black, with some parts choked, filled with filth and weeds. I have with me here Mubarak Bashiru, who is a resident of Insawam Aduejiri.
People defecate at the bank of the river and contaminate it. We fetch and use the same water for drinking and cooking. Others also wash and throw the dirty water into the river. Now, due to the water shortage, we buy the small gallon of water for 2 Ghana cedis.
In my quest to get answers to the drying up of the river and the water shortage, I went to the Ghana Water Company at Nsawam. I realized that the place has been dredged. The head of communication of the Ghana Water Company is Stanley Mate.
Thankfully, we have a new treatment plant. The second phase of this project is the rehabilitation of the old treatment plant and the dredging of this catchment area so that at least we can serve the people of Insawam and Dredgery and surrounding communities over a long period. Now, this treatment plant is supposed to serve, apart from Insawam and Dredgery, it's supposed to serve 6 other communities around. And the excess water, we also expect that will be able to serve areas towards Dome. So Pokwase, Amasaman, and all those areas should also have access to water via some transmission lines from this treatment plant towards Accra.
The first water shortage in Insawam was 10 years ago, but this is severe due to climate change, pollution of the Densu, cutting down of trees, thereby exposing the river to the harsh weather conditions.
Climatic change is the major factor. Now, the other factors that has compounded this situation is the fact that there's a lot of pollution within Insawam and Dredgery. They dump in all manner of refuse into the river body, including sewage and all that. People have cut down trees along the banks of the river and are farming. So they're losing up the topsoil, and when there are heavy rains, it washes the topsoil into the river body, thereby silting it. So it makes the catchment area very limited, and we are unable to store enough raw water.
Human activity has indeed contributed. But who are the people mandated to ensure that these human activities are curtailed? The EPA, Forestry Commission, the Ministry of Water Resources, all these bodies are the bodies supposed to use the bylaws and regulations, and the assembly itself. So if you sit down and people flout the law, and then you come and tell us that human activity has contributed to the shortage of the water, it's as if you are sleeping on the job or you don't know what you're about.
Officials are calling on all to see the problem as a national one and find ways of preserving the water bodies in the country. They believe if care is not taken, the next 2 generations will suffer the consequences. Beatrice Sanaju, GBC24, Insawam. Let's do our best to preserve our natural resources, because without water, life will never be complete. This is where we draw the curtains on my journey today. More news ahead. Please stay with us.
Come back to the news. In the international segment, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, is deploying 130 observers to monitor Niger's election tomorrow, Sunday, the 21st of February. The mission aims to ensure the smooth running of the electoral process for free, transparent and credible election. A statement issued by the ECOWAS Commission said that the mission will comprise 15 long-term and 115 short-term observers. It said the short-term observers will come from ECOWAS member states, with the exception of Niger, the ECOWAS Court of Justice, the Council of Elders of the regional organization, and the Community Parliament. The short-term mission will also comprise representatives of the region's national electoral commissions and experts trained at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Center in Accra. The statement said the former interim president of the Liberia's National Unity Government, Amos Soa, will lead the short-term election observation mission. It calls on the candidates, political party leaders and their supporters to maintain peace, tranquility and national unity during the election.
In a related development, Niger's top court has approved a controversial plan to allow voters to cast their ballot without identity papers, sparking an opposition outcry on the eve of presidential and legislative polls. The proposal, admitted by the government, allows people to vote without any ID as long as they are accompanied by two people who vouch for their identity. The opposition has challenged the proposal in court, but the Constitutional Court today rejected the opposition's request. Tomorrow's election puts outgoing President Mahamadou Issoufou, who is hoping for a second 5-year term, against 14 challengers. President Issoufou hopes for a knockout first-round majority victory, but that will be a first in the country's short history of multi-party democracy beginning in 1990. Results are expected within 5 days of the vote.
Let's move to Uganda now, where President Yoweri Museveni has won a 5th term as president, extending his 30 years in office. The Election Commission said the 71-year-old won 60.75% of the vote, while his nearest rival, Kizza Besigye, took 35%. Mr. Museveni's supporters said his opponent had failed to offer any chance of progress, but Mr. Besigye, who is under house arrest, said the results were a sham, calling on the international community to reject them. EU observers have also criticized the poll, saying the governing party had created an intimidating atmosphere and that the opposition alleged vote rigging. The election has been marred by sporadic violence and opposition allegations of electoral fraud, with social media sites and messaging apps blocked.
The UK will vote on whether to remain in the EU on Thursday, June 23. Prime Minister David Cameron made his historic announcement in Downing Street after briefing the cabinet. He said he would be campaigning to remain in a reformed EU and described the vote as one of the biggest decisions in their lifetime. Ministers immediately divided up into the leave and remain camps as the campaign got underway in earnest. The referendum announcement comes after a reformed deal renegotiating Britain's relationship with Europe was finalized on Friday night after intense wrangling at a 2-day summit in Brussels. In his statement, Mr. Cameron warned that leaving the EU will be a leap in the dark, as he urged voters to back his reform deal. We take another break, and when we come back, sports will be next. Stay with us.
Time to talk sports. The Ghana Premier League kicked off today with one of the biggest surprises yet. West African Football Academy WAFA beat visitors Kumasi Asante Kotoko by 2-0 at Sugakope. Charles Boateng and Samuel Tete scored in each half to secure the convincing win.
The exception of the free kick that was given
WAFA made a flying start to their Ghana Premier League campaign with superb 2-0 win over Asante Kotoko at the Sugakope Park. Both teams had decent chances on goal but failed to break the deadlock. However, in the 40th minute, Charles Boateng slotted home after an impressive team move to hand WAFA a deserved lead.
And nobody was picking Charles Boateng up inside the box. The connection and the header into a gaping net.
Samuel Tete then sealed victory for the hosts 3 minutes into the second half.
Asante got another trouble here. Samuel Tete scores. Oh, 2-0.
WAFA morale has been boosted as they head to Brekum to face Brekum Chelsea in their next match, while Kotoko host Ash Gold at the Kumasi Babayara Sports Stadium.
Also in sports, 2-time Olympic and 4-time World Marathon record holder Ethiopian Haile Gabriel Selassie is arriving in Ghana tomorrow. He will be launching the International Millennium Marathon, dubbed Africa on the Run, in Accra.
Ethiopian legend Haile Gabriel Selassie will be in Accra Sunday morning to launch the second edition of the International Millennium Marathon, christened Africa on the Run. The marathon is aimed at promoting the importance of the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations and the Millennium Marathon for the youth in Ghana. The launch of the race will see His Excellency the President, Mr. John Mahama, the co-chair of the Sustainable Development Goals, pass a symbolic torch throughout the countries of the world for peace and health. All 10 regions in Ghana will participate in the regional race. The launch will take place at the Movenpick Hotel in Accra on Monday.
In basketball, Damian Lillard scored a career-high 51 points to lead the Portland Trail Blazers to a dominant 137-105 win over the Golden State Warriors last night. The win ends the 48-game winning streak of the Warriors. And that was your sports. We'll be back shortly with the arts and entertainment segment.
In showbiz, Fancy Gadem is an up-and-coming dancehall musician from the northern region. He says there's no barrier to music and it is always good to use your limitations as an opportunity to make it in life. Fancy Gadem has released his new single, Concrete.
Sing or you rap?
I do both. That's, as I said, already versatile.
Okay.
I rap, I sing, and I do raga too.
Raga?
Yeah.
Okay, and you do it in your language?
I, like, you know, sometimes I do in my local dialect, but sometimes I do in English too. My real name is Mujahid.
Mujahid.
But the reason why I choose Fancy simply means, you know, when I was underground trying to come out with my own music, I told myself, why? Coming out with a music, I have to fancy. I have collaboration with I1 before. On my pipeline, I have songs, a lot of songs. I have song with, what's the name? Rootball Ranking.
Okay.
I have song with Rashid Metal.
Okay.
And I have song with Double.
Oh.
But all are yet to come. Zalla kudurana lebgamani mvyela kama pinshala malizora dabana mbongoma mbeka tarkarpa mana dama shabkwar grunu ashabmakpokwalba mboy. I've been in the game underground, but I just...
For like how many years have you been underground?
About 5 years, yeah.
So you have seen that there are a lot of things to be done to the music industry.
Definitely. The biggest challenge is just we getting promotion, you understand? It's not easy, especially we being from the north. How to get exposure is very difficult.
And thank you so much for joining us for the news. We'll be back at 10:30 with This Week.